Hello, Night Nation. I'm Trey Strelko. He's Adam Eaton. Welcome in to Sons of UCF Live. Adam, hello. How are you?
Trace, good to see you another Thursday night with all of our favorite people. Action-packed show tonight, so thanks everyone for tuning in.
Got a big football game on Saturday. Night's back on the road. What do you think? Do they get off the schneid? It's a 2-game losing streak for our Knights.
I'd love to say yes, Trace. This Cincinnati team looks pretty good right now. We'll get into that later on, but looks like a tough opponent. Knights haven't played well on the road. And who's going to be the quarterback? A lot of questions still to answer right now.
Maybe our 8-10 guest has some eligibility. Is available.
He might.
He might. Busy night on the UCF campus with a top 25 ranked TCU Horned Frog volleyball team battling with the Knights. We go now to the venue. Our Kathleen Moore is there. Kathleen, what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Trace, Adam, it's so nice to be on Sons of UCF Live. It's a really electric atmosphere here at UCF Volleyball. If you can't hear by the band behind me, we're currently in set 4 as UCF has really fought number 11 TCU in these first 3 sets. They dropped the first 2. They're able to come back with extra points and win the third. It's really incredible. It's really electric. But hitting percentage hasn't exactly been what we wanted. But there have also been errors from the service line that are really hard to get around, and that's really what has killed the Knights in this game today. But hopefully they can pull it off in set 4, and the score currently UCF 6, TCU 9. It's actively going on behind me, so hopefully the Knights can push it to a set 5, because that would really be a huge statement to the Big 12 Conference to take down number 11 in the country.
All right, thank you, Kathleen. And Adam, Kathleen shared with us earlier that the band is on site at the venue tonight, which makes
she's not wrong. No, she's
noisy
not wrong.
background.
I can confirm the band is absolutely there tonight, but Kathleen did a fantastic job. Make sure you catch the rest of that match and her recap. I'm sure it'll be up sometime on Friday on the Suns YouTube channel. So make sure you're following Kathleen. She's doing a great job covering UCF volleyball.
That she is. All right, back to football. UCF traveling to Cincinnati. Knights 27-20 losers to Kansas. Cincinnati with a big win, 38-30 over Iowa State. We mentioned it off the top. Who's going to play quarterback? A little quarterback roulette, says Andrew Cherico in our One Big Thing.
One big thing.
A revolving door. That's how Coach Frost describes his current quarterback situation going on the road to Cincinnati. And let me explain, this isn't something that happened all of a sudden. It began in spring camp when the quarterback battle was announced, carried over into fall, and is now impacting them throughout the regular season due to injuries. On Wednesday, Coach Frost revealed on 96.9 The Game Radio with Mark Daniels that both quarterbacks Taven Jackson and Ja'Carri Brown are questionable, but quarterbacks Cam Fancher and Davi Belfort are both good to go. For Coach Frost, this game of musical chairs at quarterback is a new challenge in his career.
It's a unique situation I've never really dealt with as a coach before, having this much change at quarterback. And it's not just the season, it's been kind of all through spring ball and fall camp since we didn't have somebody kind of step up and take it. It's been a revolving door there in practice and now in games. And hopefully we have everybody else up and ready to be around the quarterback, whoever it is, Saturday, so they can feel a little more comfortable.
As UCF prepares to head on the road, the starting quarterback hasn't been revealed yet, at least to us it hasn't. And on that note, thank you for watching as I'm Andrew Charco for the Sons of UCF.
I'm sorry, Adam. Did Davi Belfort enter our week?
We have now reached the point of the conversation where we're getting Davi Belfort updates. That probably tells you a lot about what's going on with UCF football quarterbacks right now.
And a year removed from UCF losing to Cincinnati. I'm sorry, that was an E.J. Colson game, was it not?
Yes, he did start that. That's the legendary 3-snap game of E.J. Colson that we saw. It's gonna be interesting, Trace. Obviously, I think if you're looking at the injury reports right now, questionable is Ja'Carri Brown and Taven Jackson. That probably means that maybe Cam Fancher in line to get the start. I don't think we'll have anything official yet until obviously, Coach Frost tells folks on Saturday when that report comes out. But if you're seeing the trends now, 2 questionable quarterbacks probably means that Cam Fancher is up. Who's QB2 though? Is that Davi Belfort? It's one of these guys. Is Ja'Carri or Taven going to come off the injury report? I guess we'll find out Saturday before the game time.
And you hope that no one is injured, but as the Knights have seen over the course of this season, that has not been the case. People have gotten hurt. Other guys have had to come in. So when Davy Belfort enters the conversation, you just wonder whether you could turn to Jacurri or whether you could turn to Taven.
At some point, though, Trace, like, we don't know what's going on with Jacurri Brown, right? I mean, we've seen Taven now really in basically 2 or 3 games take some pretty vicious hits and leave games, come back, whatever you want to call it. But he may just need a rest at this point. Like, it may be in his best interest to take some time. We don't quite know what the injury was. He was holding that left shoulder again, which was the same shoulder that appeared to be injured in Kansas State. Seemed like he was in a ton of pain on Saturday against Kansas. So perhaps he needs a couple of days, a couple of weeks to kind of get right. And again, who knows what's going on with Jacurri Brown. So Cam Fancher, I mean, he was a starter. He was the guy that Frost anointed off the top. So there's something that they like in him. Coach Frost has said that he thinks he can win with all 3 quarterbacks. Guess we're about to find out if that's actually going to happen as the Knights take on a really tough Cincinnati team on Saturday.
We're talking about quarterbacks on the injury report. As we learned Monday from head coach Scott Frost, defensive tackle Horace Lockett gone for the rest of the season, surgery and a pectoral tear. And then you see on this injury report, defensive tackle Rodney Laura is questionable. That one I didn't see coming.
Yeah, we're getting thinner up front, Trace, which is not good as you get deeper into Big 12 play. Rodney Laura's been a name from North Carolina, escaped that, what appears to be sinking ship right now in Chapel Hill, gets to UCF and has played well, actually earned the start, a couple weeks back. So he was obviously somebody I think the Knights were counting on too. So that's not an area UCF can be really thin at. Yes, you still have John Walker, you have RJ Jackson, right? But at some point in time, you're going to have to find ways to give these guys some breaks and breathers against tough Big 12 lines. And Saturday is going to be a big test if we don't have Horace Lockett, which we won't, but if Rodney Laura is not able to go either.
Switch to the other side of the ball. Suns reporter Andrew Gregg asking offensive coordinator Steve Cooper during the media availability about the importance of establishing the running game. We see this a couple of days removed from the Knights unable, Adam, to get a half a yard, second and goal from the 1. It was something that I asked head coach Scott Frost about being stymied there at the goal line and an opportunity to possibly tie Kansas. Coach, second and goal from the 1, coming out of the timeout. What's the conversation like in a 2-minute timeout about that sequence?
Yeah, I wish I could go through the litany of things that were going through my mind at that point. We had first and goal at the 6. We ran a play and got close to the goal line. First thought was to run a tempo play and just knock it in. Ended up looking at the clock and thinking, well, we got to try to limit their time a little bit, so let's slow this down, try to get it at least to the 2-minute warning. We had some creative plays down there that I think would have worked. But then in my mind, I said, we're at the half-yard line. We can get this in. If you give us 3 chances, we're going to get it in. My mistake calling a sneak from a squeeze formation. They brought everybody down inside, and we couldn't get any movement. Second play wanted to get it in Miles' hands, and we didn't get enough movement. And third play, fourth down, we were kind of, that's not where you want to be. You want to get it in on one of the other 2, and that's my fault. I should have been more creative. I just, in the situation, thought from a half yard, we can run something basic, we're going to get a half yard.
I mean, he's really not wrong on that assessment. From the half yard, you think you can get it. And you had conversation with UCF Athletics Hall of Famer Latavius Murray, the running back who knows about getting a yard or more. What did he tell you, Adam?
Yeah, well, again, you got guys in the backfield where I think we just missed at the point of attack. And so, now kind of Cam has to, in a sense, be Superman when you got guys kind of not getting any movement on their blocks at the point of attack. And so it's tough to do, right? You want to say, hey, go put your head down, drive your feet in any way. I will say this. We got to find a way to score. Ball's in your hand regardless. If it's Miles, if it's Cam, let's find a way to score. I know they know that, right? Go do whatever you got to do, dive, jump, take no for an answer, but it doesn't help, man, if we're not blocking at the point of attack.
Said it all, right? And more conversation that you had with Latavius, part of Knights 24/7 with Latavius Murray. You got to be able to get a yard. Can't we just have Paul Rubelt fall? And can't that happen?
It's interesting though. If you read between the lines of what you heard from Coach Frost and obviously Latavius, his perspective as well, if we can't get a yard, from 3 plays out at the 1 yard line, and we have to get creative, that just goes to show you what kind of physical team we either do or do not have up front to be able to push and get 1 yard. If you go watch that clip again, it's on Nice 247. If you're a member of that, if not, sign up today. A lot of good stuff there. I mean, Latavius and I go through the clip. I mean, these guys are in our backfield basically by the time the ball is snapped, and you're not going to win. Obviously, you're not going to get a yard if you can't protect the line of scrimmage. So it just goes to show you, if Coach Frost is like, I can't get a yard, I have to get creative and do something trick with motions and whatnot. I mean, maybe that doesn't bode well for the rest of the season. I guess we'll find out, Trace. But certainly is disheartening that 3 cracks from the 1. And I think we lost yards on at least 2 of those plays and just got no push up front.
So questions about the offensive line have persisted throughout the season, and the various injuries have impacted the quarterback situation. And let's turn now to former UCF quarterback Darren Slack, a standout in the mid-'80s. He knows a thing or two about quarterback play. Darren, thanks for joining us on Sons of UCF Live.
Oh, it's a privilege to be here, guys. Thanks for having me on.
You're still in some of the top 10s in various categories. Is there a record that
I think I still have the interception record. I think I have the interception record.
The question is, what are you most proud of a record? Not that one.
I don't know. I think I had 28 when I started, and now I tell people when I go that I play there BC or AD after Dante or before Culpepper, however you want to look at it. He rewrote everything. So I wish he would have taken the interception record, but I guess I have to own that one. So
you've seen the Knights quarterback situation. It dates back to spring camp. It carried on through preseason camp and now over the course of 5 games. How challenging is that for coaches when you don't have somebody that is healthy or steps up and just wins the job outright?
Oh, it's very difficult. I mean, we have to realize that what we're looking at right now is the beginnings of the new Frost era. And that means we're going to have to let him work with what he was given when he came. Now, obviously, he got a couple of guys in here that he wanted, but the reality is we're not dealing with a full Frost roster. And, some of these guys are still figuring out how to respond to his leadership and how he does things. And he's having to figure out who's going to step up for him. And that's been an ongoing process. Nobody's actually taken the role in a way that he likes it done. So he's kind of running uphill right now in terms of trying to figure that out.
You saw the play at the goal line there. You got to get a half a yard, don't you?
I think as a coach, you think you could get that half yard, but I think at the end of the day, he's probably kicking himself because UCF spends the majority of the time stretching the field horizontally. I mean, if you look at the offense and the way they do things, we stretch the field to Miles Montgomery almost every other play. We stretch the field in every other way, and then we get on the goal line and we go compressed. Now, I think in his mind, he will tell you we should be able to push these guys around and do what we want. But I'm a firm believer that when you're calling goal line offense, you got to at least give your kids one chance to stretch the field, even if it means you're risking taking a loss to have a guy sneak in. And I'm talking about an outside play, a play that hits on the edge, where you've got some creativity in there at least one time. But that's me. I've always believed that no matter what I do, if that's roll the quarterback out or, do a wide run to Miles Montgomery or, Nixon or whoever's a speedster, something that's going to put some pressure on the edge players to have to stop that might have given us an opportunity. But this is all, hindsight, right? I mean, clearly there was some decisions made in the heat of the moment that they thought they could get done. And it's unfortunate that it fell on Cam Fancher at the end, but I don't think that's fair to hold him accountable for, I think Latavius had it right, that no blocks at the point of attack. But that would have been just another confirmation for me that I probably would have gone wider under the first 2 plays, not really getting anything, not getting any movement. But that's, everybody's a good in the armchair quarterback, role. Aren't we all good at that? So
that fuels the Sons of UCF network.
Hey, I was talking to the TV like everybody else going, why didn't you run off why didn't you do this? Why did you, and it, in the moment, you'd think it would be that no big a deal, but it's just unfortunate.
Darren, obviously you've seen this Coach Frost offense here the last, couple of games, obviously his first time at UCF. What are the attributes or traits that a quarterback needs to have in this Frost offense? What are the things that a quarterback has to be able to do to be successful in this system?
Well, one of the things I've been fascinated by from the 2017 Frost offense to the Frost offense I see now is the influence of the Rams. His NFL experience certainly has played a role and these long drives these guys are getting. I mean, I'm like, wait a minute, UCF had an 18-play drive? What are you talking about? They were with McKenzie, they were scoring in every 5 minutes. It was a track meet under Malzahn. So now you've got this kind of slowed down, a little bit more considerate, and that's fine. I'd love to see a little bit more UCF fast, I guess is the way to look at it. But I like what they're trying to do. I think part of it is coming down to his confidence level and who's playing in the quarterback spot. I mean, I think with Taven, it's all retro rockets firing. With the other guys, I'm not sure he seems to have the same amount of confidence to open up things, RPOs, down the field shots, things like that. This don't seem to be as much of a priority. But in order to be successful in a Frost offense, you need three things. You need a mobile quarterback. He needs to be intelligent, have a good football IQ. In other words, he can get himself out of trouble and he can throw the ball down the field effectively. And I know that would seem strange in an RPO high octane horizontal type RPO deal, but the threat down the field that Taven Jackson bring is, I guarantee you, one of the main reasons why he's the guy right now.
Yeah, what have you seen, Darren, from Taven that you've liked so far? He's obviously played the most snaps this year in the system. What have you seen that you like from Taven? And are there areas of his game that you think, hey, if he can just notch this up a bit, he'd even be more effective in this offensive system?
All three quarterbacks make mistakes. Every quarterback makes mistakes. It's not the mistakes that they make, it's the plays that they make. And that's what you're looking at. And so when you see Taven, make a bad decision or he overthrows a guy, people go, oh, it's too bad. But then he comes back 2 plays later and throws a 45-yard dart, that they score on. That's the kind of stuff that you're kind of playing for, because a lot of what you're building with the Frost offense is, dink and dunk, and then you hit him in the mouth with a deep ball. And I mean deep, I'm talking 18 to 20 yards over the middle, or, something in the open space where a kid can get yak, or he can take it to the house. And with the weapons that UCF has and DJ Black and some of these other guys, there's no telling what they could do if they get with that concept of being able to deliver the ball to the open receiver in space, like DJ and the others. That's what Frost wants to do, is get the ball to his athletes in space. And boy, UCF has weapons. I mean, it's amazing.
You talked about a quarterback being able to run the ball. What have you seen from Cam Fancher in that area that you like?
Well, I mean, of the three, I think he's probably number 2 as a runner. Jakari's number 1, Cam, and then Taven. I mean, Taven's got a good mind for taking care of the football, but I would say Cam brings energy. I mean, he really wants to do well. You could tell a couple of those runs, he was really excited, and he just reinfused some enthusiasm into that offense. I'm not so sure he's as confident, though, in his decisions as Taven is in some of the things that I've seen him do. He seems a little tentative when he's back making decisions, throwing the ball, or on the RPOs. He's not as sure about, driving it up in there or taking it down and getting out of the pocket. So maybe not as much fast twitching Cam, but I think he's got a good level-headed sense of what Frost is trying to do. I think Taven's just a more dynamic playmaker, and I think that's why he's got the edge at this point.
When a lot of fans watch football, right, they want to boo the quarterback when a mistake is made. Wide receivers can certainly help in that regard. They've relied upon a young Wade and Charles. What else are you seeing from the wide receivers that could help Cam or Taven, whoever plays on Saturday at Cincinnati?
Well, you got to catch the ball. I mean, we can't have any drops. It's not really going to come down to the wide receivers. I mean, they're going to play a role this week, but it's, the game is going to be won or lost up front. I mean, I always say that, but the truth this week is that you've got an offensive line that's coming off of some injuries, the loss of their coach. I mean, you cannot overstate the emotional impact that the offensive line's gone through the last couple of weeks. So while the receivers are going to play an important role in being able to, make plays and have to catch the plays when the ball gets to them, really, the only opportunity UCF has to win is going to be up front offensively and defensively. They've both been gutted, so it's next man up. They're going to have to decide to exert their will running the ball with Miles Montgomery and Nixon. Those are 2 of the most dynamic guys I've seen in a long time that we've had. RJ Harvey, it just gives you that RJ Harvey feeling that something's going to happen when they get the ball. And boy, if you can do that, you can get those 14, 15 play drives, receivers catch the ball, keep the offense of Cincinnati off the field. UCF stays in this game in the fourth quarter. They got a chance.
Darren, as we sit here tonight, it seems as though Cam is the healthiest of the quarterbacks right now. So let's assume he's going to get to start on Saturday. He's going to play on Saturday. You mentioned him being tentative perhaps in the offense. What are some things you would do as a coach to maybe start him off and settle him in, get him kind of acclimated if he gets the ball on Saturday?
Well, Frost is a master at that. I mean, you look at what he did with Cam during the game the other night. Cam hadn't played since week 1, and he did some really good things. He put him in some simple decision-making situations, handed the ball to Miles, gave him a couple easy runs and a couple easy throws, which he made a couple first downs and got us moving the ball in a pretty tough situation because Kansas was getting momentum there in the fourth quarter. I felt so bad for Taven. I could, when he took that shot, I could tell that shoulder was just right out there like a piece of meat. That guy hit him, and it was just like, oh gosh, just unfortunate. But I think Cam is had a week to prepare. He's had a week to catch his breath. I think he'll be a different kind of player. He'll be much more calm and relaxed in the setting, and he'll probably play pretty well. That's my hope, but again, it's going to come down to our ability to not let Cincinnati penetrate, to get Miles some opportunities to get some yardage, like some explosive yardage, and be successful and control the line of scrimmage as much as possible. And then if we can slow down Sorsby at all, that would be great too.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the defense for a second. Obviously, they've been doing, for the most part, they've been doing a pretty good job of keeping teams in check, in line. The offense maybe hasn't produced as much of late. What have you liked about this defense that you've seen so far? That it's again, it may be a little bend, don't break, Darren, but they've kept UCF in games so far throughout the season.
I've noticed that we're a better secondary than we've had in years past. Our secondary has played better so far, in my opinion, than we've seen. And I mean, we've contested more balls that have been thrown, which is going to be very important when you're playing against a guy like Brendan Sorsby. I think we're stopping the run a little better than we have in years past. I'm seeing a much more effective defensive line, but with these injuries, I don't know. The defensive line has shown a little bit more unwillingness to give up the easy yardage, and they've made big plays, putting pressure on the running game and on the quarterback at key times. So I'm encouraged by the way our defense has played to keep us in the ball game while we're playing the quarterback carousel.
Knights at 3-2 now, double-digit dog on the road. Do you see 3 more wins on this schedule that could take them to bowl eligibility?
Well, as a UCF fan, I feel those 3 wins. I want them. There's no question about it. I am like anybody else here. It's kind of like, well, we didn't expect this to be 3-0 under the Frost era, and so we're all excited. But I think we all have to realize that at the beginning of this year, there were some serious, undeniable issues that we had to address. The financial one is there, and it will be for another year or two. Being in the Big 12 and not getting Big 12 money yet. Frost not having his roster in there fully yet. And people getting used to the way he does things, which I think what we've seen so far should be very encouraging to everybody. And I think we might be able to sneak a few more wins, catch a few teams down. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to be tough. We lose many more key people up front. It's going to make it very difficult. But never say die, right? We're going to stay in it together, and we're going to believe that, good things can happen. With the weapons that we have offensively and defensively, there's no question in my mind that the capacity to win 3 more times is there. It's really going to come down to the leadership of the seniors and the guys that are there to will that to happen. I mean, that's going to be key.
You've been keeping an eye on quarterbacks for many years through your quarterback academy. What's been going on with that?
In reference to the quarterbacks around the country or here?
Just your work with quarterbacks.
Oh, well, I'm very blessed that I have a son. I'm the OG. I started this thing, and I kind of got it going 37 years ago, and I have a son who's now the upgrade. So I support him and what he's doing, and he's got that whole new language to make a difference to these young men. And I'm really grateful that we've had the opportunity we've had to impact over 50,000 quarterbacks over 37 years. It's a long time to do anything, but my role is reduced a little bit. I've been letting him kind of take the lead, and he's just done a great job in helping young men recognize how important it is. Today's game is different. I mean, if you watch what's happening at Florida State with Thomas Castellanos, the other night they're mentioning his side quarterback coach. I mean, it's becoming a thing. Back in the day when I started, if you mentioned that you were working with a quarterback coach, they'd say, "What's wrong with you? We pay a guy to do that." But in my world now, I mean, I would get kicked out of locker rooms. Coaches say, "We're paying people to do what you do. What are you talking about?" Well, now it's kind of like golf. Everybody's got a coach. Everybody's got a shooting coach. Everybody's got a pitching coach. You've got a a quarterback coach. And a trainer is different than a guy who's working at the university or at the school. And a trainer is doing the job of preparing young men to be ready for battle now. So what you're seeing is a lot of guys Taven went to our event, a couple of years ago. I actually, before he did his move through Indiana and the rest, I trained Fernando Mendoza the time he was, 9 years old till he was a sophomore in high school. And it's so nice to see him succeeding in Indiana. So I've had some opportunities to see kids that, started young, weren't anything like they are now, and then they grow up and they become what they are. And we've got lots of others. Everybody wants to know who was the great guy you worked with. And the reality is, guys that were already talented, you're not going to make them any better than they already are going to be. You're just going to ride their coattails. But it's really been a joy to see guys that you didn't think would be that great, be successful because you had an influence on them. And that's a privilege to be a part of that. I mean, we've done that for many, many years. What's really scary, though, right now is I'm actually training some of the sons of guys I trained many years ago. So that's a little overwhelming, but that's fun. But it's really fun to watch, and it's fun to watch my son have the success he's having. So thank you for asking.
One of the UCF greats, Darren Slack. Thanks for being with us on Sons of UCF
Thanks
Live.
for having me, guys.
Hope to talk to you again soon.
Okay, sir.
Thanks, Darren.
Adam, who's your podcast coach? You got a coach working with you on the side?
Jeff Allen.
A segue. Let's turn to Jeff now for our Big 12 Minute.
7 conference games on the docket this week. All the action takes place on Saturday, so let's run it down for you. UCF is at Cincinnati. Since it's on FS1, we will call it the little noon kickoff. Houston travels to Oklahoma State, also a noon kick on TNT. Colorado hosts number 22 Iowa State, 3:30 on ESPN. Kansas State welcomes TCU at 3:30 on Fox. Kansas travels to number 9 Texas Tech, 7:30 on Fox. Number 18 BYU visits Arizona, 8 o'clock on ESPN2. And in Big 12 After Dark, Utah entertains number 21 Arizona State at 10:15 on ESPN. West Virginia and Baylor are on the bye this week. With your Big 12 Minutes, I'm Jeff Allen.
Battle continues in the Big 12. A lot of talk of that in the latest newsletter from 365 Sports that the Suns contribute to, Adam.
Check that out. 365sports.video is where you get that. You can sign up. It's in your inbox every Wednesday morning. We have an article this week about words to describe what happened on Saturday. Quicksand was one of them. I think I used revolving door maybe is another one there. So go check out the newsletter. Again, all 16 teams in the Big 12 represented, all under the 365 Sports umbrella. Those guys do a great job, and we're happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, you can check it out online, or you can subscribe to it, get it in your inbox. And it's good to scout ahead of the opposing team as well.
It is. Yeah, you'll have some Cincinnati stuff in there. There's a fresh Cincinnati article this week, so you can check in on the Bearcats, who are, again, looking pretty formidable. Just a good spot. You may not have a lot of time in your life. You want something in your inbox. You're on a lunch break. You're driving someplace. You want something quick. 365sports.video is where you find the newsletter.
I had to laugh. I typed a text message to you last night, and I asked you the question if we had sound from Scott Scatterfield. I realized the typo there, but we had opportunity to speak with head coach Scott Satterfield at Big 12 Media Days about Scott Frost.
Now that we're on Back to the Future, Scott Frost also coming back to the conference. What do you think about him coming back to UCF?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's cool for him to be able to get another opportunity to get back into, where he had a tremendous amount of success there at UCF. Obviously a really good coach, does things the right way. I think, it's a good fit there at Central Florida. So, I think, man, there's a lot of talent right around Orlando. So you'll be able to recruit at a high level, be able to get players in there. But it'll be fun competing against him, because that's one of our, I think, top rivals in the Big 12 that we get to compete against each and every time. I mean, and it's fun. It's fun to compete against those guys. And so this year will be the same. They get to come, back to Cincinnati this year. So we're looking forward to that competition.
Who takes the lead, though, in that rivalry between UCF and Cincinnati? Let us welcome in Justin Hiles with Viva La Cats, part of the 1012 network of shows. Justin, welcome into Suns Live.
Appreciate it. It's good to be back.
Can we agree on this, that this series should continue, and the Big 12 is making a colossal mistake interrupting series like this, as well as Farmageddon and others?
Yeah, I'm fed up with it. Quite honestly, I'm tired of seeing so many rivalries just die for money, and not even it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, this is a game that we've played for the past 10 years. It makes a lot of sense. We clearly have something good going, and coming out of the Big East. I think we've been looking for that rival, and that clearly has been UCF for Cincinnati. So we're going to be sad to just not have it every year. Maybe you'll get on a pod system at some point, but we'll see.
Going into the Big 12 media days, I think Scott Satterfield would have been on a list of guys that might be on a hot seat this year. Anything but. What has most surprised you about the performance of the Bearcats so far?
Quite honestly, everything. I mean, I think it really just has kind of caught us off guard to a degree. I think we did expect this team to make some progress. Under Scott Satterfield, we've seen in some of his past teams that they do kind of hit that mark at year 3, year 4, when they start kind of hitting the ground running. They've done a lot well so far. The first game against Nebraska, of course, was tough. It's hard to take a loss there, one that I think everybody wants back. But they've made a lot of progress since week 1, and clearly the offense is the most effective that it's been for the Bearcats the college football playoff season.
Yeah, Justin, what makes this offense so tough? Obviously, Brendan Sorsby having an out of body experience so far this year. What's made this offense so tough to kind of defend if you're playing against Cincinnati?
I think it's just the balance, and it's also the additions in the offseason too. I think at the specific skill positions, they've made some great additions. They've clearly done their homework. Bringing some teams up from guys like guys from teams like Lindenwood. It's when you're scouting in the offseason, you're trying to find the holes that you can plug. They've had some big losses season by season. That's just kind of the way the portal is now. But they have plugged those holes very well. And I think the biggest thing too is this team finally has some chemistry. When you have this new era of the transfer portal, there's so much bleeding every single year. And I think they've just managed to maintain the key guys in the places that they need, like Sorsby, like Royer, like Pryor, and make additions like guys like Tawi Walker, who can kind of be that 1-2 punch. And I think those types of guys that you get added in have really made the difference. And again, Scott Satterfield's offense is so balanced too, which I think it's that if you're going to punch me here, I'm going to go the other direction. If you're going to get me here today, I'm going to switch back. And having that duality where he likes to run that 50-50 offense of the rush and pass game, I think has just been really effective, and it is hard to defend.
You mentioned the running backs there. Obviously, kind of a two-headed monster at running back for Cincinnati. What's been kind of the strength of that running back group? And obviously, they've been hard to stop. What do you like about what you've seen out of that group so far?
I think they just run hard, man. Like that's the thing that I think we've kind of prided ourselves on over the past few years, is just having a really strong running game. That's one of the things that Scott Satterfield does really well. But again, looking at, even the game from this past week with Iowa State, I mean, Tawi Walker is just trucking dudes every single play, like just running hard, running. And I think it's a difference between, you see some guys who run to get the yards. Like there's other guys who run through the yards that they're going for. And I think that's the biggest difference, is like, if you can run through the defense and not to the defense, I think that's really established how the mentality for a lot of these guys is. And it's just fighting for every single last yard, no matter what they're doing, no matter what the situation is. And it's made them super effective. And that's why their offense has been managing to, average, I think we're at probably eight yards a play over the course of our first 5 games. So, I mean, that's pretty effective.
I would say so.
Yeah. Like
that's not bad.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things where you're just trying to, again, I think you can kind of build your offense around those key aspects of your game. It's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, 8 yards of play. UCF fans just wanted 1 yard on one play.
I might have to check that. I think it sounds right to me, but I got to check that, because somebody will. Let me figure that out. But
what has made Brendan Sorsby so effective in moving up the Heisman contenders list?
again, I think he's just kind of settled in, and I think he's learned Satterfield's system. He's managed to continue to keep this team, moving forward as a leader, which is something that, like, again, after we lost Desmond Ridder, it was kind of like, all right, what's the solution now? We went through Ben Bryant, Brady Lichtenberg, who's still on the team as well, got some reps. We went through Evan Prater as well, and then to Emory Jones. And it was just kind of like trying to find that formula. And I know UCF is kind of going through the same thing right now. But I think that has made him very effective. But also, if you look at last season compared to this season, so many of the things that we said, like, what's the one thing that would change his game and make him 10 times better? It's just limit the unnecessary forcing plays. If you can stop forcing plays, whether it be in key situations or just trying to find that tiny little gap, I think he's really just found a way to hit guys when they're open and knowing when to throw it away or to run it out when that pass isn't there. And that's why on the season so far, he's got 12 touchdowns and he's got 1 interception and he has 1 sack, which, again, I don't know if we're going to ask a question about this, but I'm going to put it out there. This offensive line, polar opposite from the Bengals. If anybody has watched the NFL, like, night and day, this is fantastic to watch. It is truly incredible to see how well they've done at protecting Sorsby. But I think a lot of that credit goes to him being able to move on his own too.
1 sack through 5 games. That's pretty amazing. Let's talk about the other side of the ball defensively. If UCF is going to have success on Saturday against Cincinnati's defense, what will have to happen?
It's a good question. I think what happened this past week with Iowa State, it was an interesting situation because Iowa State had some limiters where they kind of had to go for it because they didn't really have a kicker in this game. Kenrarty, who's their starter, wasn't really available. And so a lot of these times when they got in like 3rd and long, they're having to go for it when they get to 4th down. They have to move as fast as they can. And of course they were down to a big deficit. I think for UCF in this game too, if their offense can manage to just get a few first downs here and there, keep the defense out longer, I really do think that will start to wear the defense down. And I think maybe your question was probably more pointed on what the Bearcats have to do, but I think to the same effect, what UCF has to do is just keep the Bearcats defense on the field longer, because against Iowa State, like, the offense was moving so quick and had such a quick tempo, that it really didn't allow for Iowa State to set anything up. Like, you just constantly move these guys off the field. And so I think if UCF can kind of keep the Bearcats defense on the field, it'll probably be a lot more effective for them. But again, a lot of that comes down to closing the gaps, making sure that the passing game is limited, and of course, limiting the rushing game too.
If history is any indicator, that will happen in the first quarter, but the third quarter, the defense will have plenty of time to rest. Go an extended halftime based on history.
Justin, we've seen the stats. I also have eyeballs and see he's a large human being. How good is Dante Corleone?
This guy went to the same high school as me. I didn't get to, we were about, I think we're about 4 or 5 years apart. So I never got to see him while I was there. However, I did see him in a few games in high school. The guy's a freak, like, just an absolute freak. And his strength where he was in high school was incredible, but his strength coming to college football, clearly he showed it as a freshman, as a sophomore. And I think he's just continued to stay with the team, which is impressive in this day and age, because he is probably one of the most high valued guys at his position across college football. But again, he's really effective. And again, he doesn't really show up in the stat sheet quite as much. He's not getting all the sacks, but he's getting the pressures. He's closing that pocket, and he's making it much more difficult for the quarterback to operate. And that's the thing that I think makes the difference. And that's why you see when he's on the field, he's on limited reps because, of his situation. But when he's on the field, he is a difference maker. He is the guy that you just dread when you're lined up against him. And so, having him back for yet another year has just been really fantastic. And I think it's the difference in why this defense gets effective and sometimes why it lets some guys go.
Well, trace us off the top. Where are you guys at with Scott Satterfield? It seemed like maybe a little bit a hot seat, maybe coming in 4-1. Is he back in good graces? Is he the coach long term? Where's the fan base at with Satterfield right now?
I think we're in a situation now where it's kind of a nice place to be. It's a win-win situation for fans, right? Because I think half the fan base is probably still out on Satterfield. I think the crowd that was very out on Satterfield is just much quieter now. I think they're still kind of like, I need to see the proof. But I think for the people that are for him, this is what they've been waiting for. The people that are like, okay, it's give the guy 3 years, give the guy his time to figure it out. We bled a lot after that, playoff year. And then we bled just as much when Fickell went to Wisconsin after 2022. We lost a lot, and we've had to add a lot of guys who just aren't used to playing with each other and who have to learn Satterfield's system. And so I think for a lot of us, we've been kind of out on him because we just know where we were right before he got there. And we knew what he was when we picked him up. It's clear that nobody was really, it's kind of funny because he's sort of in the situation now that Fickell looks like he's in right now. Quite honestly, where it's like, is anybody really coming to this guy for a power conference job? Maybe somebody bails him out. In Cincinnati, we did that. I think, but most of the fan base, I think, is starting to kind of see Satterfield's plan. It's starting to come into action. It's just taken a long time.
Well, where are you on, Justin? One of our listeners wants to check your credentials. Are you a Gold Star or a Skyline guy?
Gold Star doesn't even try chili anymore. Like it's guys, come on. Like I'm tired of having this conversation with people. Like it's two different playing fields. You have Skyline all the way up here and you have Gold Star all the way down here. Gold Star is good at doing other things other than chili. But when it comes to chili, there is zero competition. Skyline is at the top.
He has spoken. Justin, where do you stand on storming the field?
You passed the test, by the way. You passed the test.
Where do you stand on storming the field? Iowa State field storm worthy.
This team has been waiting for a win like that for a long time. Of course, it's one of those situations where you just kind of got to go out and enjoy it. I think, I personally was part of storm fielding, which I'm sure you guys might be familiar with around here. But it's one of those things that I think for Cincinnati fans, like, they're college kids. Let them have fun. I hate the like fun police when it comes to storming the field. Just let the kids have fun. That's what they're there for. They sit out through these games. They sit through the end of the fourth quarter. If you've been there through the end of the fourth quarter, you deserve to have some fun because a lot of fans leave before the half.
Sunday, January 11th, let's fast forward. Cincinnati men's basketball and all their bags of money and Mustafa Cham come back to Orlando. That one's circled for Knights fans. How does the basketball team look as camp is underway?
It's the same old for the Bearcats. A whole lot of hype. Can they do it? Can they put everything together? That's, I think, the biggest question mark for us. There's a lot for this basketball team that I think, again, you've made some additions in the offseason that really seem like they should work. And that's the same thing that we did the season before and the same thing that we did the season before that. Clearly, the program has been moving in the right direction. They just have not been able to do enough to get over the hump, to get to the tournament. That's the goal of this program. If anybody says anything otherwise, they're not a Bearcats fan or they just don't get it. Like that is the floor for this team, is what everybody's expectation is you have to make the tournament. And I think with all of the additions that they've made, it seems to make a lot of sense. Of course, losing Jizzle in the offseason, just kind of, that was a little bit of a gut punch for, I think, a lot of people, but I think I think they have a lot going for them too, that I don't know. I won't say that we're not going to miss him, but I do think they will figure it out. And I think it might honestly make it a little bit easier to give Sean some more playing time, who's our, big incoming freshman, who clearly has some like NBA draft potential for this year as a freshman. I think you got to get those guys moving and you got to get those guys playing as much as they can. And if it's one less guy who's taken more possessions, maybe the team's more effective. But I don't know. We're hopeful. We're hopeful. We'll see.
It's UCF football in Cincinnati, rivalry renewed until Brett Yormark squashes it in a year. Justin Hiles, Viva La Cats. Thanks for being back with us on Suns Live.
Appreciate you guys. Take care.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you. All right, Adam, let's weigh in. Hopeful? I think they'll hang. I think they'll hang in the game. I think the defense keeps them in the game. I just don't know about the offense. I don't know if there's enough. You had done the stat, right, in the offseason, 28 points. That's your number, right? Can they get to 28?
Yeah. Listen, I just haven't seen this team show up on the road and really put up a good performance in a long while. So it's hard for me to imagine that's all of a sudden going to happen on Saturday with a lot of revolving door quarterback, with an unknown at defensive tackle. Is Dylan Wade going to play? So, I mean, I hope they fight. I think that's the thing Frost has hung his hat on, is this team will fight. And maybe you get lucky. It's an odd shaped football for a reason. It bounces a funny way and you get a tip pass and something weird happens. You can kind of stay in a game, but I think it's going to be an uphill battle for UCF, not just because of what they are, but Cincinnati is a pretty good football team. And I think this is why we do this in the off season. And I hate doing it. We're like, oh, win, loss. We all said, oh, Cincinnati, Satterfield will be fired by the time they get here. All of a sudden they're 4-1, right? So I think that's what makes this even tougher. Cincinnati's playing really well. They got a ton of momentum right now. It's an uphill battle for the Knights on Saturday. Is it impossible? No, but I definitely can understand why Vegas says we're a 13-point dog at this point.
Yeah, I thought Alex Grinch, who waxes poetic from the podium, you ask 6 questions and you're in for 18 minutes, but he went on an extended soliloquy about turnovers and winning the turnover battle. The Knights have lost that turnover battle 2 times, even though it was just 1-0. A turnover at the 2-yard line, you can't really pin on the defense, but that was a loss in the turnover battle. Watch for that. I thought his stat, he was riffing off the top of his head, but you heard what he said. Over 1,000 plays of a season, maybe you create 24 turnovers. If you do that, you're a 9-3 team. This is not a team that is on pace to create 24 turnovers. If you take North Carolina A&T and a couple out of that one, averaging like 1 a game, maybe.
It's a team that needs a break, right? Like you need something, you need a ball off a helmet, right? That kind of ricochets in the air, right? You need something to kind of spark this team right now. And you hope they just start fast, Trace. I think that's been the challenge on the road, specifically with the Knights, is they come out 3 and out, they give the ball back, other team scores 3, and it's the Kansas State scenario all over again. We saw this a ton of times under the Malzahn regime. Obviously, I'm not pinning that on Frost, but they start off slow on the road. If they can get off to a fast start, get off to a 7-0, 10-0 run, something like that, then maybe you start seeing the seeds of how this team at least can be competitive in the game. But they've got to start faster on the road. That's been a bugaboo for the Knights for the past, I don't know how many seasons. And if they're going to have any chance on Saturday, they're going to need to come out and start fast, get an early turnover like they get at Kansas State, but this time capitalize on that and go in and punch it in for a touchdown.
A lot of good conversation from the Sons of UCF this week, including the Pegasus podcast, of course, around the kingdom as well. A little mashup now for you.
Game, so I'm already feeling anxiety because I know how you guys work, you people listening. I know how your brains work, and as absolutely out of the park home run phenomenal this uniform is, if it's the first loss, you guys are just gonna hate it. And all summer or for years to come, I'd be like, oh, that one sucked. I didn't like the way that the numbers were the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, that's what's going to happen. So
you can't, 2 field goals given up. I agree. I thought the defense has been a bright spot. I think you got to feel good about Alex Grinch. Alex Grinch, Trey, the most confident you have felt about a UCF defensive coordinator since who?
Ted Roof.
What? I don't think so, brother. You got to go back. Maybe second half Randy. Second half Randy.
Second half Randy. Yeah. Adam wanted to draft Jakari Brown's legs in our fantasy draft. Second half Randy as a notion. For some odd reason, that Ted Roof trial continues to move along.
I can't wait.
Depositions are underway. I want to be deposed. Did you question Mr. Roof about what he does?
Yes, I need you there. I need JP Gilbert as like a legal correspondent for us. I need this whole thing.
If it gets there, and I can go,
yeah,
and I can't draw, but I'd like to draw some sketches and just put them out on my phone and some courtroom sketches.
Listen, I will find a sketch artist to do that.
Do we have an artist?
I'll find somebody. I don't care who it is. We will find somebody that can potentially do that for us, Trace, because here's the thing. I don't know what Ted Roof thinks of you. I just want the visual of you getting on the stand and him turn to his lawyer and be
Well,
like,
let's talk about these depositions.
Who is this guy? Like, who's that guy? Like that's the only thing that I really want to see, Trace.
Depositions.
Is
Gus
him having to
Malzahn.
figure that out.
Gus Malzahn has to be deposed.
Gus.
Terry Modger has to be deposed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's good stuff right there. Let's talk uniforms real quick before we go around the kingdom. Space game uniforms. Where do you stand?
They're fine. Yeah, they're good. I mean, I
like the number.
Really number's cool fine. I like the sleeves. I'm not sure the sleeves on the replica jersey don't look great because it's like 75 yards of like I spilt my blueberry 7-Eleven Slurpee all over me. Like, so I don't love that part of it. But on the player, it looks better because you have it kind of, chapped up. I think we just went Space U from here to the leg. It's good. Yeah, it's all right. I think at some point though, like you're gonna run out of ideas here. Like, how do you keep doing this?
There's the challenge.
Yeah, do you have to sunset this for a couple of years and like build the demand back up? Like you're gonna start running out of ideas, or you know what you're gonna do, Trace? People like you, are gonna hate this. They're gonna dip into orange at some point, right? Yeah, and that's gonna get that kind of look right there.
You're correct. People like me.
So there's just at some point you got to figure this out, but they're fine. They're good. I mean, I'll watch, I'll root, I'll cheer.
How about a victory for Brian W. Peterson with the announcement of gold pants on the road at Cincinnati?
Brian W. Peterson is alive, by the way, for those asking. He's been quiet on Twitter all day long. I spoke to him earlier. He's doing okay. He's fine. I think it's a good look. It's a good look. I like the gold pants with the white jersey, the white helmet. I think it's a nice look. So we knew and we had heard that gold was going to be around in some capacity. I think Christian Simmons posted this. The gold in the college football video game was not a good gold. This is a better gold. I think it's almost the gold of this shirt here. So I like the gold we're doing on the gold pants. I think it's a nice touch. But the most important matter, Brian W. Peterson, he's good.
Vindicated.
He's alive.
Simmons has to get his arms around gold this week. We go around the kingdom. Volleyball ends up dropping the match 3-1 to number 11 TCU. 10-6 overall, 1-4 in the Big 12, hosting West Virginia Sunday at 1:00. Men's soccer with a big one. They beat South Carolina on the road 2-0. They host number 6 Georgia Southern Friday at 7:00 at the UCF Soccer Complex. Women's soccer, they had a 2-0 win over Utah, a 0-0 draw with Kansas State. They are on the road at Cincinnati. I didn't time this out very well. My flight leaves right around the same time as that. So not well planned by me. I don't know that I would have made it.
You were gonna go? You were gonna
I don't know. I'd have probably gone to the brewery. But all things possible there. Mailbag. I've lost Adam. So I'm not sure what that means. It means I'm going to go. Adam will return. That's where we are on the Round of King.
I was at the brewery myself.
Okay. It is that time to bring Brian W. Peterson's mailbag.
Well, if Brian W. Peterson, by the way, is still alive, just in case anyone was asking. And yes, while I filibuster to get this down.
So it's a mailbag. So what?
So what? Do you know whose mailbag that is?
It's that time again. Time to open the Brian W. Peterson Sons of UCF mailbag.
Hi, fellas.
Gold shirt there for Brian. You think there were gold pants? We only see him waist up. I think there were gold pants in that.
I don't want to know the answer to that question.
You don't want to know. At 2 letters, 2 words. Robert, is Scott Frost the victim of his own success in the first 3 games? Nah. North Carolina was one of them, for crying out loud. If some of you who are going 7-0, yeah, stop it. Stop it with all that. Nah.
No, but look, Eric Lopez said this week in Around the Kingdom that, this was a game that most of people had said on the schedule, it's a loss. Kansas is going to be a good team. We can't beat them. And I don't dispute that. I think my challenge is at some point we were in this game and we could have won this game. I think that's where it's like we had the opportunity to win this game, make a statement, do something to get a win on the board in the Big 12, which hadn't happened in October in our time in the Big 12. You had it in your grasp and you kind of let it slip away. So I get that maybe going in, you didn't know if this was possible, but then you're there. Let's go ahead and win the damn thing. And that obviously did not happen on Saturday.
At Mary Ashbaugh 6. Hi, Mary. Hi, George. Do you still see us making a bowl game with 6 wins, 3 more to go? Yes.
Man, I hate doing this stuff because I would have said, "Oh, Cincinnati." I think I have Cincinnati in our schedule trapped. I assumed UCF would win this game. No, you can check that. I think I have Cincinnati. So you look at the schedule and you go, "Okay, West
You have
Virginia,
a win over Cincinnati in our
yeah,
schedule.
that's not going to happen." You look at West Virginia, you look at Oklahoma State. That's 2, right? But who the heck knows, man? I mean, I hope so. I hope this team can pull it together. I hope they can find consistency. But what we did not factor in is how healthy this team would be. And we talked about, hey, we have 3 quarterbacks we can play with. We now only have 1 quarterback potentially that actually can play. So I think health is a huge factor. I'm going to say yes, Mary, because I want to go to a bowl game, but I don't know if that's actually feasible just yet.
Part 2 for Mary. What 3 games do you see UCF winning? That's West Virginia for homecoming. That is Oklahoma State. It's kind of got to be Houston on the space game, though. That's a 9 game winning streak in the space game.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys.
You don't want to have to win it on the road because this was one of those games you thought you could steal on the road, and you're double-digit underdog. Baylor.
The Baylor crowd did not look great.
It's not going to be BYU.
The Baylor crowd did not look great on Saturday. It looked like the UCF crowd in the second half at the Baylor game. So perhaps maybe you still win the Baylor, but you're going to have to find a way. I said a few weeks ago, you have to hold serve at home, right? First opportunity to hold serve at home doesn't hold true, right? Now you have the next 3 opportunities: West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Houston. Can you hold serve there? If not, you have to steal one on the road. To your point, at that juncture, all eyes are firmly on Waco, Texas, if you think you can do that, or else something weird has to happen for UCF to go in there to either Lubbock or Provo and pull out a victory.
At @BlackGold_Ed, can you explain why Frost became George O'Leary at the goal line, and where was Bone? Let's talk a little bit more about this. Scott thought coming out of that 2-minute timeout, it's 1 yard to go, they're going to get it, right? And then they don't. I think what Darren Slack was saying about being a little more creative going outside, I think when Frost is saying I need to get a little more creative, maybe he's thinking along those lines that up the middle just didn't work, but he thought he could get a half a yard, 1 yard, right? Everybody did.
That's the thing as a coach. You said to yourself, I can get 1 yard, right? And I have 3 plays to do it. You assume that's going to happen, right? And at some point, all of a sudden, the negative momentum gets into place. It's interesting, right? He said he had plays that could have worked, that should have worked. You can Monday morning quarterback that. Again, if you had a nice 2-4-7, Latavius and I talk about on that last play, there's a brief moment where you think maybe if Cam bounces that outside, maybe he gets to that far pylon versus kind of going straight up the tackle lane there. So you got to think they can get a yard there, and that probably tells you a lot about this team. I also think what's interesting, I appreciate Frost is not a coach speak kind of coach at the podium. And when you said, take me through your thought process, he actually took you through his thought process. And I think one thing that was interesting was he talked about, let's just go tempo and smash it in, but then said, let's hold down because I don't want to give too much time on the clock, right? You kind of wonder if he goes back and says, did I out-coach myself there, right? Should I have just taken a touchdown, gotten a touchdown and worried about that versus trying to outsmart myself there? So maybe some learnings. We talk about this team being kind of an immature football team, and because just they're young and inexperienced. Frost has been out of the game for a little bit. Are we seeing that same thing too? I don't know, but you wonder if he gets that opportunity again, what does he do with 3 play calls from the 1 yard line?
We're talking about the differences from 2016-17 Frost. Not a lot of trick plays, right? There's not been trickery through 5 games.
Yeah. I missed the swinging gate on the extra point where all the guys lined up to the right and then right over to the left. I missed all that stuff. That was fun.
At UCF Guy 1203 on Blue Sky. Is it coaching, the O-line, Montgomery? Why the struggles in rushing? I think it still comes down to the O-line. And when you have uncertainty at quarterback, right, and you have the inexperienced guys, it's just a perfect storm of things, right? But it does come down, as you heard Darren Slack say, along the lines. And that's where Cincinnati has a big advantage on both the offensive and defensive line this weekend. But on the running game, you got to say O-line.
Yeah, I mean, Miles had 116 yards on the ground. Again, as Latavia said, who would know better than I, if the line's not getting pushed, it makes it really tough as a running back. And so I think it's kind of all of the above at some point, right? Look, I think the other thing you have to think about is the running game opens up when UCF can become a threat in the passing game. Have we done that a lot this season? Is there a defense out there that says, hey, we better lighten the box because these guys can throw on us? I don't know. I don't know if we've seen that yet, but if you're viable in the passing game, it makes it maybe a little bit easier, a little lighter box to run against. I don't know that we've proven we can throw the ball effectively. Does that change on Saturday? That's going to be a tough task for what I assume would be Cam Fancher, but could be any quarterback, obviously, against Cincinnati.
Davie Belfort has entered the conversation.
You're not listening. You're Dobby's a play away. Like I turned to my son when I was at the game and I turned to my kid and I go, we're a play away from Dobby Belfort. And he goes, who? I said, well, sit down. I have a story to tell you.
We visited. I came down and saw you during the halftime, and in a very short period of time, somehow I saw your son devour 2 different kinds of ice cream. So I'm going to
with no
his ice cream game is spot on.
With no spoon, by the way, which is fantastic.
That is true. It was all of it.
Not a spoon inside. No.
Second question from UCF guy 1203: did UCF intentionally leave the is it pronounced Hades? Is that how it HADES logo off the jerseys that can be bought online? Christian Simmons says that decision on replica jerseys has nothing to do with UCF, says Christian Simmons, noted uniform expert. That is all I know about that.
How do I don't know what this is? I don't know what this is either.
That's one of the logos on the Space Game jersey. On the greater detail, all the various pieces, it explains it. At UCF Knights win, our O-line has 6 redshirt seniors and 4 redshirt juniors, and the 2 deep after that have a bunch of guys like 270 pounds. It looks like next year will be all portal players again, and then they'll need time to gel and rinse and repeat. Do you see any hope for this unit? I think that has been a mark over 2.5 seasons now in the Big 12, offensive and defensive line. There are only so many of those guys, right? And until UCF can ante in, and even if they can develop some guys, I mean, you got to get guys not only out of the portal, but you got to develop some high school guys. It's a challenge. It's going to continue to be. They can figure out the skill positions. Maybe they get quarterback right. I think that's an ongoing challenge for UCF and a lot of schools.
I haven't watched a ton of Cincinnati, but when you keep telling me that they only have 1 sack they've allowed on the year, that leads me to think they have a pretty good team, right? I don't know how we get to that part, but I think that's a goal UCF has. And you can find diamonds in the rough in the portal. I think that's kind of what UCF did this year, Trace. We talked a lot about Moneyball and kind of, diamonds in the rough. And maybe you can find a guy or two out there that can do that. But I think the challenge is just revolving door of guys year in, year out, trying to learn a new system at the same time. There's just so many complexities. And I know it seems we keep glossing over the fact that they had a tragic loss of their leader as well. And I don't mean to make light of that, but there's just so much going on in that room. I think it's going to be hard for any of us to wrap our heads around really what this team went through, and that unit specifically went through for a period of time.
Yeah, Golden Knight _2. Which game was a bigger frustrating loss under Frost? Not supposed to win the game, but should have won. The collapse at the end against Temple in 2016 or Kansas? Temple. That's hard to believe that there were actually battles with a quality team from Philadelphia called
DJ
Temple.
Walker was the quarterback then. He had a cup of coffee in the NFL. I mean, it wasn't a slouch. I think Kansas, just because of what it would have meant. I mean, we're on an 0 for October slide right now, kind of making a bit of a stand in the Big 12. We're typically 14, 15, 16 when you rank the Big 12 teams right now. I just want to see UCF get to that point where people aren't asking, like, should we have invited UCF to the conference? Like, we need to get a couple of wins to kind of earn our keep around here. And you had a golden opportunity on Saturday. Again, maybe you didn't know it going in, but at halftime, again, you and I were talking and we were like, all right, we're up. I'd like to be up more. There was a chance to be up more, but we're up. We like where we're at. And I just would have liked to have seen us kind of finish that off. But again, we're still an immature football team.
And during that explanation you just gave, your son ate another ice cream.
You also had a chocolate in the same time. No, you're not wrong. Yeah.
At Mr. Matt Dolan, does Trace approve of the new double T by Texas Tech or the old one? I like the old one better. It's a strange time to unveil a new logo, isn't it? Midway through a season.
Did they need a rebrand? I wasn't like, I don't know. Like, it just seems like a rebrand for rebrand's sake. And I don't know if that was really necessary for Texas Tech.
And Lonely Bee UCF, who I made some comments during the show already. Should teams with stadium cat noises be given the death penalty or worse punishment?
Wires a cat guy too, and so it's interesting. I know he's a cat guy. Sure,
he's a bear cat kind of guy.
Well, a bear cat's not a thing though. We've gone over this in previous iterations. So it's 5 for 5 right now. It's 5 wins Cincinnati, 5 wins UCF in the all-time series. And this, whoever wins is going to have a bragging rights for
a while,
at least a year or two, right? So, God, I'd like to win this one.
At my UCF burner, a recruit's family told him that the bounce house was a blast for their first game, but they also noticed the FU Kansas chants and fans leaving at halftime. UCF's game day vibe is special, but what's it going to take to get it to the next level? Is it special? You were in the stadium. Is it special, Adam?
It's a tough one, right? Because I was the same guy who stood in front of this very microphone and said, the vibes are back after we beat Carolina. It was fun again in the bounce.
It was fun.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
And then now I'm the guy who was like, what the hell happened against Kansas? It rained a little bit. A lot of folks left. Students left. Alumni left. People didn't sit in the command. I get all the complaints. The music wasn't great. There was this. It was that. Winning cures all of that, right? And if you see
nobody's talking about this if you win
to win football games, these things are just footnotes of the conversation. I think the problem becomes UCF loses these games, and all of a sudden now it's a problem, right? So, are there things they could do better? Sure. Are we nailing game day atmosphere? I mean, you're hearing enough people say no that tells you there's probably something that's there, but I do think some of that gets cured by winning. I think the stench of losing makes everything feel a little worse.
Saw you at the game, saw you at internship pursuit put on by the Nicholson School of Communications. We were joined by Nick Williams for that, met a lot of UCF students. So the next crop of the Suns Army, we saw some talent there that you'll soon see as part of our programs.
Yeah, always a good time to get out there, Trace. I always appreciate them for inviting us and letting us be a part of that too, and meeting some people. Really happy for Nick, just getting some time to spend with Nick, and he's posting a lot about. He was on the other side of that table last year, and now he's here talking to some of his classmates about what they can do and how they can kind of grow their careers and what he's learned. So always a good opportunity. Keep it locked here. We'll have some new interns floating in and around the Suns atmosphere here in a little bit, but always appreciate the invite. Great job by Nick. Really, thanks to all the students who stopped by and said hello, even some who couldn't make it, have messages after the fact and want to learn more about the Suns. So it just, you and I said this while we were there, for us, this is it's a hobby. It's a passion project, right? But it's a lot of fun to be able to work with some of the young people we get a chance to work with and give them opportunity and let them kind of grow and develop. So it's a fun honor for all of us.
You're going to open the door for somebody to call us hobbyists, as has been mentioned in the comments.
We're hobbyists?
No, Christian and Bailey are.
Whoa, easy.
Not
easy.
Us.
They're not. That's not fair.
I've seen a lot of posts. Alumni Hall's got a lot of good merchandise. They've got Space Game stuff, right? They've already got it
Space
out.
Game stuff. While supplies last, 4100 North Alafaya Trail, or go online, alumnihall.com. Search for UCF, and you can get some Space Game gear there because it's a great place to be. Trace, Alumni Hall.
I think it's your turn.
I don't know. Again,
Well, hey, we've advertised Alumni Hall. There's nothing. I did not come.
Now I draw. Hold on.
Oh, is this a new question or an old question? Am I going to like this question?
It's the last one in the Alumni Hall box, so I'm going to need somebody here to help me out. What is the strangest food combination?
I don't like this beginning of this question already with the word strangest.
Strangest food combination you enjoy?
I don't know if this counts. French fries and blue cheese dressing. Does that count?
I don't like blue cheese dressing, so it counts for me.
What's yours?
You know what so I get made fun of a lot. I'm a cottage cheese fan.
Oh,
I like cottage cheese. Yeah, a lot of people make that face. I like cottage cheese.
It's fuzzy
with potato chips.
When did you try that? Like, what would lead to that?
It's a great question. I don't really know how that happened. A lot of protein in cottage cheese. The morning, actually, I eat it in the morning too. I don't eat it at the afternoon. I eat it. It's like usually more of a breakfast food for me. Oddly enough.
Potato chips.
Well, I don't have it all the time, but I do like a good
plain. Ridge?
Oh yeah, no
Ruffles.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm a kettle cooked kind of guy.
Ah, gotcha. So I used to eat cottage cheese when I was a kid. My grandmother would give it to me, and then as an adult, somewhere I drifted away from it. Then I was in the grocery store and saw it and said, I hadn't had that since I was a kid. And I got something that was like, ugh, fuzzy.
I don't know. You keep saying fuzzy. I'm not sure.
It tasted fuzzy. No.
What is fuzzy? I don't know.
No, it's just wrong. It's like eating a cotton ball. I was like, no. Ugh.
What you must have gotten that? Did you get like 2%? Did you get?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Is it supposed to? Is it? No. And I like blue cheese, so I know that the consistency of that unnerves some people.
Chocolate covered.
I will go with that, Eric. Chocolate covered potato chips are very good. Prefer that over
grilled
pretzel.
Cheese and ketchup.
Not a big ketchup guy.
I actually do not like ketchup. Mario, not surprisingly, ranch on spaghetti.
Ranch on spaghetti. I don't think they serve that at Skyline or whatever the other place was.
Mario, wherever Mario goes, they serve it. I can promise you that.
I want to thank Kathleen Moore for joining us off the top of this one from UCF Volleyball. Darren Slack for giving us a little insight on the quarterbacks in the Knights office, and Justin from Viva La Cats previewing the Bearcats. Thank all of you for being with us for another edition of Sons of UCF Live. He's Adam Eaton. I'm Trey Strocco. Thanks for watching Sons Live. Go Knights.
John says,
hi guys, Dalton Riggs here, long snapper number 47. Thank you for watching Sons of UCF.
One take, I think.
He's always so, yeah, I think, well, I mean, it was all you sent to me one take. He's always so happy.
Cubs are on. See ya.
What does that mean for